Two NFL playoff teams are about to fade. When you look at their 2025 records, they look nice, but when you take into consideration aging cores, roster changes, coaching changes, schedule, I think it's going to be hard pressed for both of these teams to get back to the postseason. Welcome back to 3rd and 23. I'm your host Alex, here to bring you another off-season video for the NFL. In this video, I'm talking playoff teams to fade. So I'm looking at playoff teams from a year ago that I expect to not make the postseason in 2026. I got one AFC and one NFC team for you. As you see, the Steelers and the Packers. Here are their odds to miss the playoffs. So if you didn't know, you can bet on teams to miss the postseason. The Steelers are at -168, so Vegas thinks they will likely miss the playoffs, but it's right there on the cusp. And then the Packers, +125, so they're seeing things differently than I am seeing them. They went 9-7-1 last year, so they kind of backdoored their way in there. But more on that in a second. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and dive into this. Talk the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, so when we talking Pittsburgh Steelers, why are they vulnerable? All right, first off, you have a coaching reset. So if you've been under a rock, you don't know that Mike Tomlin is no longer in Pittsburgh. You know, that era has finally ended. Mike Tomlin, you know, things kind of grew stale there at the end of Pittsburgh, so I'm not completely against the change there, but they went out and get Mike McCarthy, who was not coaching in 2025. He last was coaching in 2024 for the Dallas Cowboys. He was there for about 5 years, a few playoff appearances, and then obviously he used to coach for Green Bay, a bunch of playoff appearances there, and won Super Bowl. I think this was more about a Rodgers fit, though, than a clear upgrade, because I don't see how Mike McCarthy is a clear upgrade to Mike Tomlin. I think Mike Tomlin's a better coach. So this is all about this guy had success with Aaron Rodgers. Maybe Aaron Rodgers has a good relationship with him, and let's keep him happy. But Aaron Rodgers is 42 years old, going on 43. Aaron Rodgers doesn't push the ball down the field anymore. This isn't Aaron Rodgers of the Green Bay Packers with Mike McCarthy. That era is gone. So I don't think this turn back the clock moment is going to pay off like I think the Steelers believe it will. And then more on that limited passing game. So Aaron Rodgers, he finished dead last in average depth of target last season. So there's no pushing the ball for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then they go out and they get Michael Pittman, big wide receiver for the Colts. On paper, you say he was their wide receiver one. Reality to me, though, he was their third best receiver. Josh Downs and Alec Pierce are better than him. So you get a big wide receiver here in Pittsburgh and Michael Pittman, who's not fast, who doesn't get down the field. You pair him with DK Metcalf, who DK Metcalf to me is a good player, but he's kind of getting wasted in this conservative dink and dunk passing attack. And now you're looking at Metcalf and Pittman, Freiermuth, very conservative. Everything's going to be less than 10, or most of the passes are going to be less than 10 yards. I just don't think Rodgers is pushing it. I don't think McCarthy's going to have a big impact on the passing game here. I'm seeing a very conservative attack. And then finally, aging core. Talk about the defense. They got some key pieces on the defensive side getting older. They're still around. Cameron Hayward is 37 years old. Or going to be 37. Actually, he's already 37 years old. Still starting on the defensive line. You got TJ Watt coming off of his worst season. I think he had, 7 sacks last year. He's going to be age 32 this season. So does he still have more in the tank? I think he still has a little more in the tank, but I don't see 20 sack TJ Watt. That's not coming back. And then Jalen Ramsey, they're moving him around because he doesn't have the ability at corner to play on the outside like he once had. He's, I think, 33 years old as well. So they're getting older on the defensive side of the ball. Pair that with a very conservative offense, and I think things are going to be dicey for the Pittsburgh Steelers this coming season. And then we take a look at their schedule. So I want to highlight right here, post-bye gauntlet. You have, this is what they're doing after the bye: at Cincinnati, at Philly, Denver, Houston, at Jacksonville, Baltimore. Those 6 in a row right there could all be in the playoffs this coming season. And you got Carolina, who, you know, they had a losing record, but they still won the NFC South last year, at Tennessee. And then you end the year at Baltimore again with the Ravens, just the same way they ended it last season. They only made the playoffs because the Ravens missed a field goal at the end of the game. I don't think it's going to be that same situation this time around, but still, you got Baltimore twice in your last 4, plus the rest of these teams in this gauntlet with a very conservative passing attack. I just don't see it happening for Pittsburgh. I think the defense is going to be weaker. I think the Steelers are definitely going to miss the playoffs this coming season. All right, moving on to the NFC, we're going to talk the Green Bay Packers and why they are vulnerable. First off, no pass rush. I want to point this out for everybody. Last year, Micah Parsons got hurt against the Broncos, and they lost that game. Then next week, they played the Bears. Jordan Love goes down. It was the first half. They lost that game. Then they lost it next week. Then they lost it next week. Then they backdoor their way into the playoffs. and they played the Bears, and they lost that game. A lot of people are talking about Jordan Love. He missed those games at the end of the year. But the real thing to me is Micah Parsons didn't play in any of these games. They've lost 5 straight games without Micah Parsons. That's how long it's been since they won a game. Micah Parsons had a 20% pressure rate last season, easily the best on the team. Second was Rashawn Gary. He's on the Cowboys now. Then you had Kingsley Enagbare. I believe he's on the Jets now. And Micah Parsons, the reports are he's not going to be ready for the start of the season. And now I'm reading that there's some fear that Micah Parsons is not going to come back till much later in the season. So you're looking at playing the first part of the season, at least the first half of the season probably, with no pass rush whatsoever. I don't think the Packers are going to have a pass rush. So I think this defense, they're going to look real regular like they did last year when Micah Parsons went down. Jordan Love just hasn't taken that leap. I thought he was going to take the leap last season. I thought he might get into the MVP chase. Nothing like that. He's plateaued is what it seems like to me. He's hit a hard ceiling and he's not bursting through it. You look at his numbers last year and they look just okay. One of the biggest things to me though, if you're not looking deeper into the metrics, is Jordan Love versus pressure. A lot of people don't notice Jordan Love was, for the majority of the season, Jordan Love was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league against pressure. And the stats match the film, because if you watch Jordan Love play, you're like, damn, are the Packers ever going to get a first down? Are they going to move the ball down the field? They lose to the Browns by 13-10. The Browns. They lost to to Carolina in a low-scoring game as well. Things like that. You don't see Jordan Love moving the offense. I think he had 13 points against Carolina in that game. Just doesn't move the ball. Struggles under pressure. Is Jordan Love going to finally take that step and break through? I haven't seen it, and he had his opportunity last year, and he didn't do it. And then offensive volatility. We got to talk about Josh Jacobs. You guys know we don't even need to talk about what's going on off the field. But on the field, he had his worst season last year, one of his worst seasons last year. Is he going to bounce back at 28 years old with everything going on off the field? And then they're counting on a lot of guys with a lot of injury concerns coming back. Tucker Kraft coming back over ACL. He was having a great year at tight end. Is he going to be back? Christian Watson. You can miss me if you think Christian Watson's about to play 17 games. It's not going to happen. You guys notice if you follow the Packers, if you play fantasy football, you know Christian Watson is not going to play a full season. And then Jaden Reed, he's coming back from an injury. So they're depending on a lot of guys coming back from injury. There's been a lot of guys that there's some made of glass in them, right? So are they going to be able to stay healthy for a full season? I don't know. There's a lot of volatility there. And then let's take a look at the Packers schedule. So we talk about this midseason stretch we got here. When you look at the Packers schedule overall, it doesn't look that bad. A better team for sure, I think, would make the playoffs with this schedule. But with the Packers, I don't know. You got this midseason stretch, hosting the Bears, hosting the Cowboys, and then at Detroit. That's 3 teams that are going to be competing for the playoffs. Then Carolina. I think Carolina's going to be improved. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be improved from last year. And then at New England, defending AFC champs, even if they were a bit of a fraud. So that's a tough midseason stretch right there for a team that's going to have a lot of questions, and maybe they don't even have Micah Parsons back by this point, right? And then you go into the post-bye run. You've got the Rams, everybody's Super Bowl front runner, mine included, right? At the Saints, Bills, Dolphins are the worst team in the league, so you got that. But then at Chicago, Houston, Detroit, the end of the season. I think that right there, those 3 right there, at the Bears, the Texans, and the Lions, that's going to decide if the Packers make the playoffs, in my opinion, and things could get tough for them. That's a tough 3-game stretch to end the year. So I don't like the Packers' chances to return to the postseason. The content, please like, comment, subscribe, as you're going to see more off-season content as we continue to march towards the regular season. Take care.
We on a mission now. We serving roadblocks, taking no shots, see the vision now. It's from the ground up, put the rounds up, now we in